Hey everybody, it's Grace. I know it's been a long time, and I know I said that I wasn't going to talk about the Watts case anymore. I was starting to get frustrated with it because, yes, Chris is in jail. Okay, so one person is in jail, but NK was there, no matter what anybody says. And actually, a lot of people are saying that she was involved. And there's so many red flags. She keeps changing her story. Her first interview with the police, when they did it at the park, she said that she didn't even know Shanann's name. But yet she was looking her up on Facebook. Another thing that I've been wondering for years is, why would she start looking them up in 2017? There had to be a reason, right? Because she starts looking them up in January of 2017. And it's weird because it's almost like she made herself into the perfect woman for Chris. Like, I guess he went to a gym. Well, she went to the same one. And then she gets a job at Anadarko where he works. And she's telling the detectives that they didn't even start talking until June. But yeah, you got coworkers there telling them that they were talking all the way in April. So little things are like coming together. And like the last interview that they had with NK, you can hear the frustration of the detective because she's completely detached from the situation. It's always, oh, he was going to leave her, or his kids. It's always, she distanced herself completely. And but anyways, okay. When Chris was interviewed, like, they grilled him. They absolutely grilled him. And he does admit that he took Tammy Lee's like suggestion, like Shanann did it and then he had to kill her. He admits that, yeah, he took that and ran with it. But if you listen to when Chris is in the interrogation room with his dad, and it's just the two of them, and Chris is talking low, but you can still kind of hear. But he says something like, "Why did she have to hit her?" And then he says she wasn't supposed to be there. Well, okay, he's not talking about the kids. He's not talking about Shanann. So who the fuck was there that wasn't supposed to be there? NK. And this video, first I thought it was like a phone call, like Alex, like this. I didn't realize it was like a FaceTime conversation for 2 hours or 111 minutes to be exact. But I didn't realize that they were FaceTiming. So what I'm wondering, because all this activity is going on with his security cameras, right? I'm wondering because NK knew about technology. I'm wondering if she was trying to help him because he had messed with it before. Because I said this in my videos previously, I think, but I have a Ring camera and motion sensors in my house. And the Ring camera on the front door, when somebody comes up to it, it notifies you on your phone. So, and another thing to think about is NK was at Chris and Shanann's house on July 4th and July 14th. Now, she was technically only invited on the 4th. She was not invited on the 14th because she showed up at the house and he's deep cleaning because he said he had to move the couches out of the way so she could get in and everything. So he had to have been messing with the cameras. And everybody, I'm sorry, but some people just keep saying, oh yeah, he strangled her and then she killed the kids and everything like that. Nobody died in the house. Nobody. Those oh my god, what are those dogs called? The cadaver dogs that smell death. Because I'm sorry, even if you kill somebody and that body's in the house for a couple minutes, that dog's gonna pick up that scent. That dog did not hit anywhere in that house because no one died in that house. There was no dead body in his truck. They were taken out of the house. I mean, the camera on the back door was taken off. Plus, NK's truck was spotted by the neighbor Betty 3 times. Once, she spotted her truck the night of the murders. Then, when she went to go work out that morning, she saw NK's truck that morning at like 5:15. And she was like, and the truck was still there when the cops showed up at like 1 something. So honestly, and Chris wasn't the only one who knew about, he wasn't the only one who worked in the oil gas industry. NK's famous friend Jim also works in the oil gas industry. So he knows how to do all that shit too. I didn't realize that. Everybody's finding out stuff little by little. But here's the big thing I want to point out, okay? Now everybody says that Chris was famous for telling half truths. Well, he wasn't the only one. NK did it too. I mean, she's sitting there saying she's innocent, but this isn't, I mean, I'm sorry, but why in the hell was she granted protection or immunity or whatever they fucking gave her before getting all of her stuff? Because they let her fucking go. And there's so many fucking red flags. Like, literally, if you look in the video of, well, you can really see it on the last interview, but there's literally chunks. There's 2 chunks of hair from her head missing. It's mid 90s outside. And you see these detectives coming in light clothing, short sleeve shirts, shit like that. And she has long sleeve shirts on, everything like that. What the fuck? What is she hiding? That's what I want to know. Because her phone pinged at that house, at Chris Watts' house, 3 times. July 4th, July 14th, August 13th.
I'm just over here trying to fill out my 100 real quick.
But yet, I guess that wasn't a question. And I think that they did see on the ring that she showed up on the 14th, because they asked her specifically, they're like, did you notice anything about the door? And she acts stupid. She's like, well, was it a unique door? They're like, no. Like, did you notice anything, like, different on the... Oh, she's like, oh, you mean the camera. They're like, yeah. It's just... It frustrates me because the 2 people that came in, like, pretending to have an affair with Chris, they were, like, grilling them. Every single lie they freaking caught them in. And you got NK fucking lying out her fucking ass, and these detectives are just listening to her bullshit. And if she's protected, okay, that's fine. What is stopping them from giving Chris Watts another lie detector test and having them specifically ask, did you kill Shanann Watts? Did you kill Bella Watts? Did you kill Cece Watts? And the last question, was NK involved in the murders? They need to ask those questions. Because, I'm sorry, but she's sitting here saying she's got a safe house and why does she need a safe house? She slips up and she tells them shit with, like, I don't even think she realizes it, because she can't. It's like she can't keep up with her lies. Because one interview, she'll sit there and say, "Oh yeah, I didn't even know Shanann's name," and then the next interview, she's like, "Oh yeah, I knew." Like, she was looking Shanann up and Chris up constantly. They have the records. And honestly, I've been thinking, because Ronnie Watts, Chris's dad, tried to get his phone, after it was all said and done, and they would not release it to him. And it's been years and it's still in police custody. So what I'm wondering is, was there a freaking cover up? Honestly, why hold a phone if it's over with? Why? Why would you keep his phone?
What up, pussy ass bitch?
Because NK told not only Chris to delete everything, but Jim was to delete everything. Her friend Charlotte was to delete everything. This wasn't just one person she told. Something went wrong that night. And it scared the fuck out of her. And then she went to plan B, which was to throw Chris under the bus. I guarantee it. And I guarantee the phone was it, because they were going to use her phone. But they couldn't get into it. And it fucked everything up. And I also realized something else. When you see Chris, like, you really gotta freaking watch. You do see a red car speed off, like, straight. And it was right next because right next to their house, like, not where the garage is, but the other side, there's like a thing of rocks. and then there's like a door to get into the like backyard. The car was sitting there. So Chris moving his truck was a distraction. That's all it was. It wasn't, oh, he was moving his truck to bring bodies out. No, that it was mainly a distraction. They wanted to block all that off, but problem is the car sped off before he completely backed up. So, and we also know that Jim owns a red car. Oh, yeah, and NK just happened to sell this truck that she had that was seen on Murder Monday, as everybody calls it. She sold it like a couple of months after because that's not sketchy. Like, I don't get it. I really don't. Like, she's in these interviews and she's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to need protection. I'm going to have to change my name. Da da da. Like, our relationship really wasn't like that. But yeah, she's looking up wedding dresses and like talking about getting married and wanting to have his first son. And about that, okay. Oh boy, I'm sure people are going to hate me for this, but no, this is not taking sides. I'm going to point that out. But I might have just forgot what I was going to say. Sorry, I've been having a little bit of memory issues, so hold on one second. I think what it was, because, see, phone records show that NK placed 2 calls to a clinic inquiring about Oxycontin, saying like, what would it do? What would it do if you're pregnant? Would it cause a miscarriage? Shit like that. Yeah, because that's not sketchy. And then Chris is like, because when Chris tells them that he slipped their oxy, they're like, where'd you get it? Oh, I'm going to take it to the grave. Yeah, we already know that you got it from NK. We're not stupid. But I think, I honestly don't think he wanted to kill his family. Do I think that, yeah, maybe he was on board with the miscarriage? Like, okay, I'll do that, and then, I don't gotta worry about it, shit like that. But I don't think, because he did it twice. Because the second time he did it, he made her a drink and he slipped it in there before she left that morning because she was sick that time too. What I'm wondering is, did NK just finally snap and be like, nothing is working here, so I'm going to take matters into my own hands? Nobody is going to know exactly what happened in that house. But I can guarantee nobody died in that house. So, with that in mind, I am not saying that Chris Watts is innocent. He belongs where he is. Because either way, this happened because of him. But I don't think he killed anybody. Because nobody died in the house. There was no dead bodies in his vehicle. And I'm sorry, but I do think that him moving his truck was just a distraction. because he loads up his freaking tools and everything like that. You do see like a shadow, and it does look like a child's running out to him. And you see pick him up and put him in the truck. But I don't know. That's a little iffy. Because, okay, what everybody needs to realize, because I do have motion sensors, so I know this, even with my Ring camera, there is like a 10 to 15 second delay. So, like, if you walk into a room or walk through a room, it ain't gonna pick it up right away. So, in the beginning, when everybody sees this person walking out of the garage, they're like, oh, that's Chris. That is not Chris, because Chris was in his truck at that time. There was a delay. Just think for a second. The clothes she was wearing, yeah, she was wearing the same colors. I'm guessing that they were his clothes, Chris's clothes that she wore. That's what I'm guessing, to make it look like it was Chris coming out of the garage. But it's very hard because the shirt is baggy on her. And I'm sorry, but she's got a booty butt and Chris don't. Not only that, but if you see Chris's clothes, he's got his sleeves pushed up, his clothes are form fitting. That was not Chris coming out of the garage. So, I'm guessing it was NK. And everybody was wondering, like, because I heard that, I don't know if she's a cop or whatever, but the one that had the dog, the trauma dog or whatever, like, and she's like, oh, this house is just too clean, it's just too immaculate. That's not a red flag. That is how Shanann and Chris kept their house. They didn't clean like normal people. Like, when they cleaned, they moved furniture, they fucking did everything. That house was always clean. It almost looked like no one lived in it. And you can see that from the videos. So for this officer to say, oh, this is sketchy, and everybody thinks, oh, it was sketchy because it smells like cleaning products, so they must have freaking died in the house. No. Some people, when they're stressed out or anything like that, to occupy their time, they'll clean. And that's what he did. He cleaned all night long because he was like, I couldn't sleep, all the lights were on. Like, something dark was in that house. Something dark was in that house. I am telling you. And I believe in that shit. Oh, sorry. I don't think I'm supposed to swear. But I believe in that stuff. And I don't understand why they let NK go. There's more red flags than Six Flags at this point when it comes to her. She can't even keep up with her own lies. And the cops are just like, okay, yep, you can go now. But they're grilling everybody else? What the hell? There's either a cover up or somebody has that fucking police station by their balls. And I've been hearing that NK's dad has money like that. And to be perfectly honest, if you watch these freaking interviews, it's very confusing because honestly, you don't know who's controlling them. Because the first two interviews, she has her dad. And everybody's like, oh, well, Chris had his dad. Okay, I'm going to clear that up. Yes, his dad was there, but the reason he was there is because if anybody was paying attention the night before, he was asked if he would take a polygraph. He agreed. They told him to come in, well, to be in at like 11 or 9 or 10, something like that. And he's like, okay, I just got to pick up my dad from the airport and then I'll come straight to the police station. You hear him say this. So that is why his dad was at the police station. Because he was in a completely different room. He wasn't even in that room with him until like 3-4 hours later. But NK had her daddy with her. And anytime the detective tried to basically call her out, her dad would speak up. She's used to getting away with stuff. She has had 2 DUIs that are just mysteriously dropped. And I think it's like, because Chris, when he tells them about the affair, they ask about Nikki or whatever. He's like, "Oh, keep her out of it. She had nothing to do with it." Da, 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 da. And then you see them with NK, and they straight up ask her about Jim. She's like, "No, no, no, leave Jim alone." Da, 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 da. So you got Chris saying, "Leave NK alone." Da, 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 she had nothing to do with it. She, da, da, da. And then you got NK saying, "Leave Jim alone. He had nothing to do with it." Da, da, da. But your phone records are showing that all 3 of you are in constant contact. So you're telling me you're in constant contact with each other and this man don't fucking know? I looked up sex magic. I'm not gonna lie. And basically, it's a form of manipulation and control. You're basically, it's almost like, when you're trying to break somebody to have full control over them. Basically, that's what she was doing, but she was doing it in form of sex. Because you hear Chris saying, "Yeah, I mean, we had sex like 4 or 5 times a day." Like, seriously? And this woman did not let him go to his house. And I think the reason for that is she didn't want him to have any connection to his family at all. Because there was an incident, actually, I think it was the 14th, that Shanann called Chris, and Chris was at NK's house. And he told NK, "I gotta leave, I gotta go home." And she had a fit. Like, you have a woman that goes off the rails, who I just recently found out was diagnosed with bipolar.
Are you in the truck ranger?
She's obviously jealous because she sits there and she tells the detectives, "Oh yeah, like I told him to go to North Carolina and like fix his marriage, everything like that." But yeah, she's blowing up his phone the entire time. And then when he says, I'm with her, like he's even distancing, I'm with her. No, that's what she is. Sorry. He'll tell her that like he's with Shanann or he can't talk or whatever. And she texted him, oh, what? Are you with her? Like, why? Like, you told him to go fix his marriage, or did you? I don't think she did, personally. I really don't. And as far as Chris and NK's relationship is concerned, I believe that started in 2017. I'm sorry. I don't believe that they dated for 6 weeks and then he just decided to no, I don't think that. I think it was longer than freaking 6 weeks. Because if you hear both of them, they say, oh yeah, we started in June. But they don't say the year. And not only that, but he's spending every night at her house. She's giving him this concoction to drink every night. Nobody knows what's in it. It's not like he was drug tested when he went to jail. But sex magic can be very dangerous because you can become very someone can suggest something or want you to do something and you would do it without hesitation type thing. I think that's what she was doing. I mean, she's sitting there saying that their relationship was hardly anything, but yet, right, I think like 2 or 3 days before the murder, she gives him a key to her apartment. And you hear Chris saying that dark stuff happened there, but he can't say. In sex magic, they perform these rituals. And yes, they're naked. And sometimes it involves threesomes. And I'm not making this up. You can even look it up. Look up sex magic. I think that he could have possibly been having a threesome with NK and Jim. Possibly. I don't know for sure. And another thing. Okay, I'm just going to give you like all these red flags. And I'm going to do it in order. And then you can give me your opinion on what you think. For NK, number 1. Her phone pings at 6:16 a.m., I believe. Her truck was noticed 3 times the day of the murder. That night, early that morning, and in the afternoon. She never clocked into work. She only clocked out at 4, and nobody remembers seeing her until like 3 or 3:30. So she was only at work for like a half hour to an hour. You know what she was doing? Calling her spiritual advisor. Like, seriously? And then you have, because the entire time the body cam is showing freaking Chris on his phone. He's constantly on his phone texting. And he's like, oh my god, not even paying attention. I guarantee he was talking to NK. Because I'm sure he said, "Oh, cops are here." Da 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 da. So she's probably freaking out. She's blowing up his phone, this and that. Like, he was even making calls to the police and having her listen in. And everybody's like, "Oh, Shanann was a bitch. She was controlling, da 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 da." Okay. No, I didn't know her personally. But there's a good type of bossiness and a bad type of bossiness. Hers was a good type. She wanted to uplift people, make them better, like make them feel better. She wasn't the type to like bring people down. She was the type to lift them up. So she also had OCD. And from somebody who knows people who had OCD, you like things a certain way. I mean, I think I might have even had a little bit of OCD, but because of my disability, I I can't claim like that anymore. But anyways, you like things a certain way. And I know this because my husband has cleaned before, and I'll go behind him and I'll do it my way. Like it's just you like things a certain way, and that doesn't make you a bitch. And like Chris is like, she wouldn't even let me hang a picture on the wall. Really? It's just a fucking picture. Like, and another thing, you have Chris, who's the calm one, who doesn't like conflict, who doesn't like to engage in drama. And then you have NK, who flies off the handle, who we asked to talk down off a ledge numerous times. And this story about Dieter, the dog, freaking giving NK a tour of the house. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. First, he gives her a tour. First, she only sees the kids' room, playroom. Out of the whole house, that's the only room she goes in, supposedly. Then, her story is Dieter gave her a tour of the entire house, except for Chris and Shanann's room, which is bullshit. I'm sorry. It's a lie. I'm sorry. I don't. That dog did not give her a tour. I believe she was being nosy. I'm sorry. If you're with a man, are you gonna go in his kids' rooms? No. You're gonna go in his room and you're gonna snoop around. And everybody was wondering who that woman was that came. Like, I think it was like in September. It was nighttime. Uh, Nate's camera catches this woman walking in the front door. You don't see her leaving. I can guarantee I know why. Because she probably went in the fucking basement and out the window. No camera. They all went through the front door, so her truck could have been in the back. Not only that, but the day, Murder Monday, when they're in the kitchen and you see like the sliding doors, you can see outside where like all these development houses are being built. And you see a car, a white vehicle that looks almost exactly like the one that NK has. And it's slowly going by. Because that's not a coincidence. And it's not a coincidence that a woman is caught going into the house. I guarantee I know she knew the passcode. Because Chris probably told her. So I'm guessing she goes in the house. Something was underneath his bathroom sink that she needed to get. Because I'm guessing, what I'm guessing, Chris found out that Shadine's parents were coming. And I'm guessing he got a hold of NK somehow. I don't know. Something happened. But I'm telling you, or maybe it was a coincidence that she just happened to do it that night. But something was under that sink. And another thing I want to know, because I'm very, very, very curious about this too. Every person that has gotten close to what might have happened is basically getting shut down. Like Audrey Briggs, she's a medium, a psychic medium. Like she showed it, and it honestly, like I believe her. Like she's very specific on things. She said that there are 4 people in the house that night. There was Chris, NK, Jim, and some Hispanic woman that was friends with NK. And then she said that she sees Chris in a corner, cowering down. She also says to look in the pipes, that there's something in these pipes that they need to look at. And then all of a sudden, her videos just stop popping up. AD, Armchair Detective, he was literally in contact with Chris, and Chris was trying to tell him what happened without actually telling him what happened. Because I think Chris wants to get the story out there, but I do think he was threatened. I truly believe he was threatened, because it's not a coincidence that he pleads not guilty, and then NK's dad asked the detective, so he pleads guilty, it'll all be over. And they're like, yeah, pretty much. And then out of nowhere, he pleads guilty. Nobody finds that suspicious at all. Like, come on. Oh my god, there's so many red flags. I don't know why they didn't check her arms. I don't know why they didn't polygraph her. Like, they sit there and they say that they treat everybody the same. I'm even with Nicole Atkinson. I mean, she was the hero of all of this, and I watched the interview with her and her son, and there were a couple moments when they got a little, I don't know, not really raised, but tone got a little deeper a couple times with her. And it was like, dude, why can't you do that with NK? And what I want to know is, why the hell was she protected before her shit was looked at? I've never heard of that before. They literally made a deal with the devil. And I've heard that one other time. If anybody has ever heard of the Ken and Barbie story, Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo, and when they made a deal with Carla, they made a deal with the devil before they looked at all the evidence, and then they found out that she was involved in everything. There was nothing they could do about it. See the picture? It was already signed. So what I don't understand is if they can't touch NK, why can't they repolygraph Chris and ask those 4 questions? That's what I'm wondering, because nothing's stopping them from doing that. It could even be private, so nobody knew. Like, I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, I've heard that they're looking for NK, but I don't know. But they're keeping Chris's phone for a reason. Because Chris didn't delete anything. Because he told the cops that. He's like, yeah, she told me to delete everything, but I didn't. And she was the one that told him to erase his Facebook. And then she went and checked it. And I guess like she found out that all he did was deactivate it. Like, this woman, oh my god. And she makes no sense, because when she gets there on the 14th, July 14th, Chris is shampooing the carpets, right? Okay, so shampooing the carpets, they're going to be wet, obviously. And she's sitting, and NK is telling the detectives, yeah, we sat on the floor and we discussed his micro whatever thing, some app. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if it's wet, why would you want to sit on the floor? Why wouldn't you sit on the furniture? Like, it's just weird. And the way she acts, like, she'll get, like, really, really, like, close to the detective, almost flirty. But if he questions her about anything, you see her lean back. And then she starts moving around. You catch her looking at the camera a lot. It's almost like she's trying to figure out how to act. Honestly. Because the second interview is like, oh, I can't believe he killed these girls. They were like this big. And, oh yeah, we're getting to the meat of it. Seriously, bipolar. Like, and she wasn't even freaking crying. And she didn't even say their names unless the cops told her to. Like, the detective said, well, did you know her name at that point? Yeah. Well, are you comfortable saying it? Well, oh my god, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand. There's got to be something they can do. There's got to be some way that they can reverse whatever deal they made with her. Because there's evidence all over the place. There's red flags. She's constantly lying. She can't keep up with her fucking stories. These are all red flags, and the detectives are just like, oh yeah, okay, good to go. You can go now. And then she's moving. She's changing her name. She's selling her truck. She's fucking anything that she could possibly do to. This is why I said I think something went wrong during that murder. Something went wrong because it had to have scared her, because she deleted absolutely everything. And not only that, but why was she there? And I know she was there when the cops were there, and I'll tell you why. Dieter would literally bark if a leaf blew outside. So there is this officer walking around the outside of the house doing a perimeter check, and you don't hear Dieter at all. Actually, you don't even hear Dieter until Chris goes downstairs and lets him out. So somebody was down in that basement holding his mouth shut. I can guarantee it. And NK and Chris called each other every morning. It was like a freaking ritual, but just so happens they don't call each other that morning. They didn't call each other that morning because they were together. Like, it's not hard to. Maybe we all need to band together and make sign a petition to get her reinvestigated and whatever deal they made with her to reverse it. Because I'm telling you, they let a murderer go free. Because at Chris's sentencing, not sentencing, I don't know if it was a sentencing, but he's at the table, right? He's all cuffed up. And he's listening to the judge. And he's not moving at all. But as soon as he mentions his children, their injuries, he loses it. He breaks down. Oh, yeah. And another thing, NK was outside in the hall while all this was going on. Probably making sure he pled guilty. And why? And I also found out that there wasn't just a crystal under Bella's bed. There was a crystal under Cece's bed and Chris and Shanann's bed. Now, I was looking at crystals. Now, I don't know what these crystals look like, so it's really hard. So, if anybody knows, like, what color the crystal was or what it looked like, and send it to me, and I can look it up. But it's just weird because Shanann never did that. Shanann was not one to. There was nothing under the kids' bed. There's nothing under their bed. I mean, she wasn't the type of person to put shit under the bed. Like I said, she was OCD. She liked things a certain way. So she didn't put those crystals there. I know Chris didn't. The only other person who messes around with crystals is NK. And not only that, but I was sitting there and I was watching them bag up this evidence. Okay. Oh my God. First of all, you can obviously tell that he's washed the bedding and made the beds because the day before they were a mess. So they're all clean, right?
See sun come into play.
Now, mind you, nobody died in the house. So I don't know what the fuck they're looking for. But they put all the blankets and pillowcases and pillows in one bag.
Okay.
Aren't you supposed to put them in like separate bags? Because like contamination and shit.
Yeah.
Hey, babe.
Yeah, me too.
Ooh, sorry. I almost forgot I was on live.
Hold that one, though.
But yeah, there's just a lot of stuff. And I really want to know what these dark things happen. Because I've seen like the people on YouTube that, go places and like pick up spirits and stuff. I think his name is Mac or something. I don't know. But this this guy actually went to NK's apartment. Like she obviously didn't live there anymore. But they were outside the door and there was so much dark energy in there. Like his thing was going crazy. And like
Okay, there.
the body cam footage from the cops, they can pick up, or the EVPs or something like that, but you hear these things saying, "This is our home. Get out." No. Like, and everybody's like, "Oh, I don't know who it could be. It could be Shanann. It could be another spirit. Like there is a man's voice that says, "I have CC."
Okay.
And it's kind of freaky. That was the only one. That and the laugh. They say it was a fucking doll, but I don't think it was. That's another thing. The inside of her shoe closet, Shanann's shoe closet, was trash. Like there was like sorry, there Bella and Cece's toys were like everywhere, all over, like spread throughout there. And Shanann wouldn't have left that there. She would have probably taken it upstairs to the playroom and put it away. But no, this was all scattered. So I think that NK was keeping those two occupied. And she slips up because when the cop is like looking around, on the top shelf, you see that and it's out of place. You see this little pottery plant that's painted. And then in Kay's interview, she says, "Yeah, I wanted to get to know the kids and we could like paint pottery plants and like plant stuff." And it's like, I just saw a pottery it's very sketchy. It's very, very sketchy. And the way the detectives came at everybody else, but not her.
Okay. No, I'm sorry.
I mean, for crying out loud, I mean, she was looking up freaking Amber Frey. What she was worth. Book deals. Like, seriously? A family was murdered and your priority is to look up a book deal? Why the hell do you need to write a book if you supposedly were only dating for 6 weeks? I'm sorry, I don't believe that. I know they were dating longer than that.
That's fucking shoddy shit. Is getting mean, man.
You can tell just from Chris's reaction when when Shanann, does the shirt, oops, we did it again.
Go on.
I think he was already with Nikki. But I also think he was fucking Shanann, and I'm pretty sure he was probably thinking in his head, "Oh, she can't get pregnant." And he walks in, and I believe he was shocked. He's like, "Oh shit, what do I do now?" She's knocked up. So there's just a lot. There's a lot to think about. Like, and another thing, there's like, I think they said there's,
Yeah.
let's just say there's dozens of cameras outside of Anadarko, and not one of them shows her coming into work until 3:30. So where was she? Oh, and her best friend Jim just happened to be at her house that day. Just happened to be at her house that day. First, he was sitting on step waiting. Then she said, "Oh yeah, he has a key because I trust him." So he was inside. But I'll let you guys think about that, and I'll talk to you later.